acted in direct violation of the War Powers Clause of the Constitution. President Trump has devolved and continues to devolve American democracy into authoritarianism by disregarding the separation of powers and now usurping congressional war powers. In all this, Donald J. Trump has abused the powers of the presidency in a manner contrary to his trust as president, has become a threat to American democracy, subverted our constitutional government, and devolved democracy into authoritarianism, to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, Donald J. Trump, by such conduct, warrants impeachment and trial and removal from office. I yield back the balance of my time.
Under Rule 9, a resolution offered from the floor by a member other than the majority leader or the minority leader as a question of the privileges of the House has immediate precedence only at a time designated by the chair within 2 legislative days after the resolution is properly noticed. Pending that designation, the form of the resolution noticed by the gentleman from Texas will appear in the record at this point. The chair will not at this point determine whether the resolution constitutes a question of privilege. That determination will be made at the time designated for consideration of the resolution.
Mr. Speaker, and still I rise. And I rise today because I believe my country to be at the crossroads of democracy and autocracy. The moment of decision is near. We will have to decide whether we will have a country that abides by a constitution that is meaningful or ignores a constitution such that it becomes meaningless. I choose to stand on the grounds laid by the founders and framers of the Constitution. I stand today to announce that at the conclusion of this 1-minute message, I will bring articles of impeachment to the attention of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
What purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intention to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. H-Res 537, impeaching Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. In the House of Representatives, June 24, 2025, Mr. Al Green of Texas submitted the following resolution. Resolution impeaching Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. Resolved that Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and the following articles of impeachment be exhibited to the Senate. Articles of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America, and in the name of itself and the people of the United States of America, against Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. in maintenance and support of his impeachment against him for high crimes. Article 1, abuse of presidential powers by disregarding the separation of powers, devolving American democracy into authoritarianism by unconstitutionally usurping Congress's power to declare war. In his conduct of the office of President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, in violation of his constitutional oath, faithfully to execute the office of President of the United States, and to the best of his ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, abused the powers of the presidency. He disregarded the doctrine of separation of powers by usurping Congress's power to declare war and ordered the United States military to bomb another country without the constitutionally mandated
and a failed
congressional
ceasefire
authorization or notice to Congress. Cognizant of the fact that should another country's military bomb a facility within the United States of America, it would be a de facto declaration.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 1, savings strike. New to finances, learn to master your money with...
On June 12, 2025,
What happened on June 12th?
initiated attacks on Iran, ostensibly to target sites and individuals of importance to Iran's nuclear program.
He just all over the place, signing.
Iran retaliated, and the conflict has escalated between Israel and Iran. Though at no point did Iran pose any imminent threat to the United States. On June 21, 2025, President Trump announced successful attacks on 3 nuclear sites in Iran.
Lie.
Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan via his social media network, Truth Social. President Trump has failed to seek prior congressionally mandated authorization for the use of military force. Congressional leaders were not appropriately briefed or notified
Why did he lie?
of the attack plans, despite foreign leaders being given advance notice of the planned U.S. military action. President Trump's unilateral, unprovoked use of force without congressional authorization or notice constitutes an abuse of power when there was no imminent threat to the United States,
Facts.
which facilitates the devolution of American democracy into authoritarianism, with an authoritarian president who has instigated an attack on the United States Capitol,
And blame everybody
denied
except
persons
himself.
due process of the law, and called for the impeachment of federal judges who ruled against him, making Donald J. Trump a threat to American democracy. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of the United States Constitution grants Congress the sole power to declare war. Quote, the Congress shall have the power to declare war, end quote. At the time, the framers of the Constitution emphasized the goal of limiting the monarchical power of any single individual person to take a country to war over personal whims and preferences. No constitutional exception exists for a successful military action. In starting his illegal and unconstitutional war with Iran, without the constitutionally mandated consent of Congress or appropriate notice to Congress, President Trump acted in direct violation of the War Powers Clause of the Constitution. President Trump has devolved and continues to devolve American democracy into authoritarianism by disregarding the separation of powers and now usurping congressional war powers. In all this, Donald J. Trump has abused the powers of the presidency in a manner contrary to his trust as president, has become a threat to American democracy, subverted our constitutional government, and devolved democracy into authoritarianism to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, Donald J. Trump, by such conduct, warrants impeachment and trial and removal from office. I yield back the balance of my time.
Under Rule 9, a resolution offered from the floor by a member other than the majority leader or the minority leader as a question of the privileges of the House has immediate precedence only at a time designated by the chair within 2 legislative days after the resolution is properly noticed. Pending that designation, the form of the resolution noticed by the gentleman from Texas will appear in the record at this point. The chair will not at this point determine whether the resolution constitutes a question of privilege. That determination will be made at the time designated for consideration of the resolution.
Mr. Speaker, and still I rise. And I rise today because I believe my country to be at the crossroads of democracy and autocracy. The moment of decision is near. We will have to decide whether we will have a country that abides by a constitution that is meaningful,
Well, we already know he don't follow the
ignores a
law.
constitution such that it becomes meaningless. I choose to stand on the grounds laid by the founders and framers of the Constitution. I stand today to announce that at the conclusion of this 1-minute message, I will bring articles of impeachment to the attention of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
What purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intention to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows.
I was hoping.
H-Res 537.
Hold on.
Impeaching Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. In the House of Representatives, June 24, 2025, Mr. Al Green of Texas submitted the following resolution. Resolution impeaching Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. Resolved that Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and the following articles of impeachment be exhibited to the Senate. Articles of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America, and in the name of itself and the people of the United States of America, against Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, in maintenance and support of its impeachment against him for high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 1, abuse of presidential powers by disregarding the separation of powers, devolving American democracy into authoritarianism by unconstitutionally usurping Congress's power to declare war. In his conduct of the office of President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, in violation of his constitutional oath, faithfully to execute the office of President of the United States, and to the best of his ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, abused the powers of the presidency when he disregarded the doctrine of separation of powers by usurping Congress's power to declare war and ordered the United States military to bomb another country without the constitutionally mandated congressional authorization or notice to Congress. Cognizant of the fact that should another country's military bomb a facility within the United States of America, it would be a de facto declaration of war against the United States of America. On June 12, 2025, the State of Israel initiated attacks on Iran, ostensibly to target sites and individuals of importance to Iran's nuclear program. Iran retaliated, and the conflict has escalated between Israel and Iran. Though at no point did Iran pose any imminent threat to the United States. On June 21, 2020,
do you support Israel and the Jewish people? Now, more than ever, Israel needs committed friends around the world to voice their support in her struggle for.
And Esther Hahn, via his social media network, Truth Social. President Trump has failed to seek prior congressionally mandated authorization for the use of military force. Congressional leaders were not appropriately briefed or notified of the attack plans, despite foreign leaders being given advance notice of the planned U.S. military action. President Trump's unilateral, unprovoked use of force without congressional authorization or notice constitutes an abuse of power when there was no imminent threat to the United States, which facilitates the devolution of American democracy into authoritarianism, with an authoritarian president who has instigated an attack on the United States Capitol, denied persons due process of the law, and called for the impeachment of federal judges who ruled against him, making Donald J. Trump a threat to American democracy. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of the United States Constitution grants Congress the sole power to declare war. Quote, the Congress shall have the power to declare war. End quote.
Highly.
At the time, the framers of the Constitution emphasized the goal of limiting the monarchical power of any single individual person to take a country to war over personal whims and preferences. No constitutional exception exists for a successful military action. In starting his illegal and unconstitutional war with Iran, without the constitutionally mandated consent of Congress or appropriate notice to Congress, President Trump acted in direct violation of the War Powers Clause of the Constitution. President Trump has devolved and continues to devolve American democracy into authoritarianism by disregarding the separation of powers and now usurping congressional war powers. In all this, Donald J. Trump has abused the powers of the presidency in a manner contrary to his trust as president, has become a threat to American democracy, subverted our constitutional government, and devolved democracy into authoritarianism to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, Donald J. Trump, by such conduct, warrants impeachment and trial from office. I yield back the balance of my time.
Under Rule 9, a resolution offered from the floor by a member other than the majority leader or the minority leader as a question of the privileges of the House has immediate precedence only at a time designated by the chair within 2 legislative. The resolution is properly noticed. Pending that designation, the form of the resolution noticed by the gentleman from Texas will appear in the record at this point. The chair will not at this point determine whether the resolution constitutes a question of privilege. That determination will be made at the time designated for consideration of the resolution.
Mr. Speaker, and still I rise. And I rise today because I believe my country to be at the crossroads of democracy and autocracy. The moment of decision is near. We will have to decide whether we will have a country that abides by a constitution that is meaningful or ignores a constitution such that it retaliated. And the conflict has escalated between Israel and any imminent threat to the United States. attacks on 3 nuclear sites in Iran. Fordow, Natanz, and Esther via his social media network, Truth Social. Authorization for the use of military force. Congressional leaders were not appropriately briefed or notified of the attack plans, despite foreign leaders being given advance notice of the planned U.S. military action. President Trump's unilateral, unprovoked use of force without congressional authorization or notice constitutes an abuse of power when there was no imminent threat to the United States, which facilitates the devolution of a democracy into authoritarianism, with an authoritarian president who has instigated an attack on the United States Capitol, denied persons due process of the law, and called for the impeachment of federal judges who ruled against him, making Donald J. Trump a threat to American democracy. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of the United States Constitution grants Congress the sole power to declare war. Quote, the Congress shall have the power to declare war, end quote. At the time, the framers of the Constitution emphasized the goal of limiting the monarchical power of any single individual person to take a country to war over personal whims and preferences. No constitutional exception exists for a successful military action. In starting his illegal and unconstitutional war with Iran, without the constitutionally mandated consent of Congress or appropriate notice to Congress, President Trump acted in direct violation of the War Powers Clause of the Constitution. President Trump has devolved and continues to devolve American democracy into authoritarianism by disregarding the separation of powers and now usurping congressional war powers. In all this, Donald J. Trump has abused the powers of the presidency in a manner contrary to his trust as president, has become a threat to American democracy, subverted our constitutional government, and devolved democracy into authoritarianism to the great prejudice of the cause of law and justice, and to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, Donald J. Trump, by such conduct, warrants impeachment and trial and removal from office. I yield back the balance of my time.
Under Rule 9, a resolution offered from the floor
Hold
by a
on, y'all. Let me play while they doing this. Hold on.
As a question of the privileges of the House has
there's some
immediate
things that,
precedence
you know, while
only
y'all
at
over
a
here
time
be talking
designated
about
by the chair within 2 legislative days after the resolution
immigrants and
is
stuff.
properly noticed. Pending
I don't
that
think y'all
designation,
know
the form of the
the
resolution
history.
noticed by the gentleman from Texas will appear in the record at this point. The chair will not at this point determine whether the resolution constitutes a question of privilege.
Mission
That
not
determination will
accomplished.
be
Oh, the
made
mission
at the
wasn't
time
accomplished.
designated for consideration of.
Hold on. Hold on. He's a traitor to our country. Yeah. He made behind the scene deals. Yeah, that was a whole skit. They were supposed to be working together. They started telling.
All right, can you hear Jolly talking already? And it's not Jolly. Simmer down. He's raring to go with the breaking news. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lemon Live at 5. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show, Lemon Live at 5. We come on, by the way, you know the whole drill. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and the like. It does affect the algorithm, and more people become aware of our conversation. I'm so glad that you are here. A busy day in New York City, a busy day for the world, okay? Because we come on with some breaking news once again. For the fourth time this week, we have breaking news. Well, fourth time, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Because every day, in the morning, the evening, this morning, and now this evening. After Donald Trump's once-in-a-generation ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran was blown to smithereens this morning, the president was hit with another massive setback. It happened just moments ago. The U.S. military strikes Trump ordered on Iran's nuclear facilities did not, I repeat, did not destroy the, quote, core components of the country's nuclear program, and likely set it back only by a matter of months. Diplomacy would probably have been much better. That's according to 3 sources familiar with the classified report. I tried to tell the people the other day. And the
you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. That's what he said. According to the sources, the enriched uranium was not destroyed, and the Iranian centrifuges are largely intact. The findings are directly at odds with President Donald Trump's and the Defense Department's.
I tried to tell the people the other day.
Insisted that Iran's nuclear program.
No, they said I ain't know what I was talking about. Ain't nowhere in the world he could have known that quick.
We have it. We'll bring it to you.
Ain't nowhere in the world he would have known. Oh, it's rocks all over the place.
Be able to do it. So we also need to cover this historic mayoral election in New York City.
And then he called a fake ceasefire. That was a lie. Everything about this was a lie. And then he gonna cuss out CNN and MSNBC.
Political dynasty and defeat former Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Is everybody false but his?
In the Big Apple prevail. The rich folks,
Let me hear this.
And how will the historic heat wave suffocating the Northeast affect this closely watched race? So here to discuss with me, I have a phenomenal group of guests.
That ceasefire was fraud. You see, they bombed. They woke up bombing. He woke up mad as hell, cussing out people this morning.
About the mayor's race in New York.
Cussing out people, cussed out CNN, went off, wanted to start a fight.
We'll put the New York Times up. The New York Times is reading that the U.S. strike barely set back Iran's nuclear capability, set back to Iran's nuclear program by only a few months. U.S. report says, basically, for you and me, it is what? I told you so. You reported this.
I told you so.
Yeah.
We were here live on the Don Lemon Show 1 hour after these strikes took place.
And there's no way he could have.
And it's on YouTube. You can go watch it. That this didn't do anything. Why? We have a president who goes on Timu Twitter and tells the world, hey, our planes are now in Iranian airspace.
Right.
We own Iranian airspace well before the strikes ever happened. Also, there was already reports the day of that Iran had a heads up about where we were going to strike.
And they moved. I tried to tell people
that they moved their personnel out. And now with this intelligence report, the only new information that I'm really seeing that we didn't already know was that they really didn't even hit the core components that would have stopped future uranium enrichment.
They made him look like a fool. They think he's a fraud.
And he flew across the ocean for no reason.
Yeah, how many and how much money did we spend on this? And basically, I think diplomacy, Jolly, would have been much better than spending all of this money. And look, they did a great job at also putting lives in jeopardy. Again, this is our breaking news here on the Don Lemon Show at 5 o'clock. Strike set back Iran's nuclear program by only a few months. U.S. reports says classified findings indicate that the attack sealed off the entrances to 2 facilities, but did not collapse.
Get active in a war.
Buildings. What does this, first of all, do
to he done made a side deal?
The larger implications here.
Besides, America's embarrassed. I mean, we're embarrassed.
We're embarrassed.
Remember,
I agree.
Donald Trump got all of his yes men behind him and stood in front of the cameras and said, we just ended the Iranian nuclear program.
Lies.
We have Republican congressmen tripping over their own shoes to put in for a Nobel Peace Prize. Everybody was pounding their chest. And now, speaking of diplomacy,
He's trying to broker a ceasefire deal and failing that miserably. We are an absolute embarrassment on the world stage. We wasted a bunch of money. We put a bunch of service members' life at risk. Just keep in mind, this was an escalation that could have ended horribly. We're lucky it didn't. And so
don't get mad at me.
Basically, you know,
because
like
Donald Trump lied to y'all.
Yeah. Well,
y'all believe everything he say. Y'all believe that bull crap.
He said, after last night, remember, this is total peace. Iran's going to cease fire. Then Israel's going to cease.
I'm mad at them. I'm mad at Israel. Do not bomb back.
Everyone lived happily ever after.
Right.
And then,
first of all, we know one thing. If Donald Trump's talking, he's lying. Number two,
he's talking, he's lying.
Out that if the shit was that fucking easy, it would have already happened, right? He thought
you can't ask me nothing,
I'm Donald Trump. My name's on a bunch of buildings. And
you can't ask me nothing. Put it in the super chat.
Places.
In the super sticker. Don't ask me nothing.
And everybody
put it on the super chat super sticker.
After 80 years, we're going to have a peace deal. Like, no, this is a very complex geopolitical situation in which you should have experts around you as you negotiate. As you said,
he don't listen to nobody.
Resolution. Instead,
he can have experts around him. He won't listen to him.
And correct himself. And, you know, the rest of his clown show. So that's why we are what we are. You elect clowns in, you get a circus.
I want to put this Matt Duss tweet up for you. It says the U.S.'s most advanced stealth bombers dropping the U.S.'s biggest, baddest bombs managed to set back Iran's nuclear program by about 3% as much as Obama's nuclear agreement with Iran did. Once again, great job, neocons. And it's true. That's what diplomacy will work better. And it's a whole
they played him.
Cheaper.
While he over there talking about, I played both of them. Now they played you. That's what they did. They played you. I played between both of them. Okay. Yeah, well, they made you look like a fool.
4 years of bringing Iran's nuclear program to essential halt. And it was overturned by Donald Trump for no other reason besides ego and, of course, he hates black people.
Yeah, he lied. He hate what?
Jolly, why don't you say how you really feel next time? Jolly, let me just one more thing to tell people that something big is happening with the senators today, and you're going to be there covering it, and we're going to come back to you. Tell us what's happening.
I'm on the way to the Capitol building right now. Senators are gathering outside the steps right now as we speak. They're bringing together a bunch of people that will be affected by Medicaid cuts. See, one story that's kind of been lost in the shuffle here is that big ugly bill, where the big ugly bill has reached the Senate floor now. I'm going to go sit down with the senators that are up there, listen to the stories being told.
People play with God.
And I'll join you guys.
Even the devil will try to play
here to see what's going on.
Our chief Washington correspondent, Jolly Good Ginger, in Washington, covering it for us as he should be. And we'll see him in just a little bit with that story from the Senate. Thank you, Jolly. I appreciate it. See you in a little bit. Okay, let's welcome now to the Don Lemon Show, Jack Cocciarella. He's the host of the Jack Cocciarella Show right here on YouTube.
Angry.
If you're watching us,
I'm not angry at all.
Watching us on TikTok.
Why I gotta be angry? Because I'm telling the truth.
We're going to introduce you to Jack.
I am not angry at all.
Many of you are familiar with him as well.
Absolutely not.
Jack, thank you. Welcome to the program.
But I know a liar when I see one.
Thank you so much, Tom.
I dang sure know one when I hear one. Why is it when people don't agree with you, they angry? No, absolutely not. It's funny to me. It's funny that y'all so easily deceived by the devil. I ain't angry at all. I ain't believe nothing he said. So why would I be angry? I didn't put no faith and trust in him. None at all.
Look, let's face it. Andrew Cuomo's a household name.
No, sir. I like to see the devil get exposed. So no. And I'm going to remove that statement because you're not going to lie on me and put that evil spirit on me. See, that's how I know that you evil too, because you talk just like him. You tried to make me angry because I don't agree with you. Oh, okay. I know you don't believe in my God. No, sir.
He does have aura.
No, sir. The devil is a lie. You a lie. That's why your name is no, because you don't know how to tell the truth.
Exploding lately, not just because he's had this digital operation that has been so strong for so
No,
long.
sir.
He makes it easy for
You
people
will
to
not,
want to be
and I
brought
do
into the
mean will
campaign.
not.
He's speaking to everyone, everywhere. He's like socialist Pete Buttigieg in 2020. Like, he wants to go everywhere all the time. He was up for a press conference at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember. I think the last time I saw 5 o'clock in the morning, I had stayed up.
I'm
until
saying
5
what
o'clock
the
in morning.
news
Like,
people say.
Zoran
It was
is
a
nonstop,
failure.
and the message
It was a
resonates.
failure. So
Very clear
why am
because he's exploiting
I not
polls
telling
right
the
now.
truth when the facts is already out
I
there?
think Casual Observer in the chat said that Jack was glazing on his Riz. So
I was glazing. Do you know what? That is an accurate assessment. I have
Don't
been
come
for a
over here
while.
getting
I've
mad
been-
at me because
you can see what his Casual
you
Observer
believe
says,
a
glazing on
liar,
his
a
Riz.
narcissist,
It's true.
a
I'm more than happy
manipulator,
to. But,
a con
Zoran
artist.
has been
Don't get mad at
in
me.
the social space. He's been on
Don't
social
try to
media.
make
Like, this
me be
campaign has
mad. I ain't
been
mad at all.
thriving on social media for so long.
It's funny
like,
to
the
me. I've been
anecdote
waiting
that
on
I
y'all
share,
to
where I
come
say
on
he's
over here
been
so I can
a
laugh in
household
y'all
name
face.
now for like a week, even though obviously Governor
you know,
Cuomo has been disgraced.
in the comment
Former Governor
section,
Cuomo
still making
has for
excuses
so long.
for him.
Is that
I've
I
been
did an
waiting on
interview
you to
my
come
YouTube channel
so
with
I can
Zoran
laugh.
about two, 3
I
months
told
ago. I
y'all
posted
the other
a clip
day
from it on my
that he was
Instagram account.
lying.
And after the first week, where usually
It
those
was
things
total
stopped getting views and likes, it had about
He's
10,000.
just
It
lying.
started picking up again.
And
about a
then
week
got
and a half
mad.
ago,
I
when
mean,
people
got
were
mad at
flooding
CNN
Zoran's
and
page and beginning to
MSNBC.
follow him. He was getting
Who
just
called him
pushed
all
the way to
type
the
of
algorithm.
names, just
It's
like you tried to call
60,000
me
likes now.
angry.
So in a week, 2 months after it was posted, it gets another 50,000
Y'all hate
likes
to be
just
wrong.
because his
Why you
social
just
media
can't
feed
say
is
he made a
exploding. And
mistake?
it's really
He was
translating.
out of
has
order.
the on-the-ground
It's
operation.
just
They
that
just
simple.
passed
He made a
1.5
mistake.
million
He
doors
was
knocked
out of
yesterday.
order, and it was
This
a
is not just a
failure,
social media thing.
just
This is
like he's
real.
always
Yeah, and
been a
it's interesting because,
failure.
my husband's into the social media. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's been telling me for weeks now. I'm telling you, Zoran got 60,000 likes. Andrew Cuomo got 200. And I'm like, okay, does that mean anything? Is he a social media creation? I think it's not a social media creation, but it shows you the importance of social media and also the importance of his appeal as well, which is affordability, which he really,
Don't get mad at
he
me.
hit first. And made it the main focus
You
of his
mad at the
campaign.
person who
Do
lied
you
to
know
you?
Ross Barkin? Ross Barkin was on with my friend Tara Palmieri, and he's from New York Magazine.
Y'all was sure
This is what
hoping
said
that he
about
was
his,
telling the
Zoran's
truth
historic
too.
rise. Here it is.
Ooh.
You mentioned $20 million has been spent in a super PAC that supports Andrew Cuomo.
If Zoran wins this would be the first time I am aware of in my research and experience where a mayoral candidate completely overcame big money in New York City. Every winning candidate I can think of, going back to at least the 1970s, had some support from, usually it's like either Wall Street or the real estate industry. So like Bill de Blasio was progressive and a lot of rich people disliked him. But if you recall, he was actually close to a lot of real estate developers, and he had ties to big real estate in a way that helped offset some of the hostility he found kind of in the finance sector. Whereas here, it's like the union. I mean, it is almost like true class war. It is like the union of big money in New York City. Again, like Zoran is their worst nightmare. They do not want the 33-year-old Muslim socialist as mayor of New York City, and that's like top to bottom. If you are a person with real money in this town, you are against him.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 1, saving strike. New to finances, learn to master your money.
Don, you're muted.
Done.
How about that? He's 100% right. And look, because I'm out there on the streets reporting, I talk to people, I ask everyone, hey, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then I go, hey, what do you think about the campaign? Oh, my God. I love that Zoran, blah, blah, blah. Or oh, he scares me. He's a democratic socialist. Or he's anti-Semitic. And on and on. You hear the thing. Or if he wins, the tax base is going to leave New York City. All of those things. I hear it all. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think that Zoran, one of the reasons he's been so successful is because he's unafraid to respond to any critique against him, and usually just uses it as an opportunity to share his platform with anyone who will listen. You know, this is someone who hasn't shied away as he closes this gap from any of the positions that many might think, oh, well, maybe we don't necessarily want to be talking about this. You know, a perfect example is, you know, as a Columbia grad myself, just recently, I know that the Trump administration has gone after my alma mater because they thought, all right, this is a liberal university. This is the perfect target for us to go after. People don't like these big institutions. They don't like colleges. And of course, they went after Mahmoud Khalil because his message of liberation for Palestinian people isn't maybe something that resonates as broadly with Americans as other free speech issues, because it was a free speech issue would. So they thought if we can pick on Columbia, we can pick on Mahmoud Khalil, then maybe people will fall in line with us. They'll be okay with it. Democrats won't speak out. And a lot of Democrats didn't speak out. But as we just recently saw Mahmoud Khalil released, Zoran took the opportunity to reaffirm what he's been saying throughout his entire campaign, that yes, this has always been a free speech issue. He is not someone who is going to stop calling himself a democratic socialist just because he's getting closer to winning this election. He's got the same quality that an AOC, that a Bernie Sanders, that even, you know, Donald Trump does, where they're just unabashedly themselves. People can be worried maybe about Zoran. I don't think they distrust him, though. He is so blunt and honest. And I think that's what's been so important in catapulting his success, is just because he keeps saying the same things because it's what he believes, no matter if he was at 2% in the polls, which he was a couple months ago, or 52% in the polls.
Okay, let me put this up then, because this is the New York Magazine, New York Post.
Mm-hmm.
New York Post is saying, say it ain't so, since we're here. The Post says, New Yorkers must reject radical anti-Semitic socialists in today's primary. It started saying to you what now don't get mad at me in the chat. I'm not saying this. I'm just telling you these are the issues that are happening in New York City, and that's what folks are saying. What do you say to that? Because he's had to answer this whole thing about anti-Semitism and rejecting socialist policies that they say is not good for the city. And all one has to do is look at Chicago, and you could see that it does not work.
Or you could look at Boston and look at what Mayor Wu is doing very successfully, someone that Zoran consistently cites as the most successful Democrat in the country. I want to talk about the socialist policies first. I don't know what's so scary about making sure that buses are free and they run quickly so we can have better transit in New York. I don't know what's so scary about freezing the rent, something that Mayor de Blasio did. That's not a radical idea. Landlords continue to see huge increases in their profits as it gets more expensive for everyone to live everywhere in the United States without any actual bumps in income being seen by anyone. But what Zoran has talked about and responded to, I think unfairly, critiques of anti-Semitism, which don't exist in his campaign, is that he's actually the campaign most focused on fighting back against real anti-Semitism that does exist, not the type of anti-Semitism co-opted by the right, people who engage with Nick Fuentes and then come in and turn around and say that they care about combating anti-Semitism. They don't. But Zoran has talked more than any other campaign, not just because he's been asked, but about combating the hate that exists against every group in New York City, but specifically investing more than any other campaign to stop anti-Semitism that is real in New York.
What about this idea that the tax base will...
Ridiculous. There's no way. I say it's ridiculous for the same reason that Zoran told me, is because the New York City tax code is not having to do with businesses that are headquartered in New York City. It's business that is done in New York. So you're not just going to stop doing business in New York. It's not like, Amazon picking up and moving out of Washington or wherever they're based, or deciding that one state versus another, leaving New York for Miami to just put your P.O. box. That's not what it is. It's about business being done in New York. And what Zoran wants to raise the corporate tax rate to is, as he says, the same level as the radical socialist utopia of New Jersey. Ooh, so scary. It's like, this is what he wants to do. What he wants to do and accomplish is similar to all other states and localities around New York City.
Jack, let me jump in there when you said it's so scary, but that is a real fear. Now, but look, my husband is in real estate.
Style and substance in the GMCC era.
And I know some of the folks who are concerned about this. They're like, look, I'm going to pick up and I'm going to leave. I'm not going to stay here in New York City. I'll move to Florida. I'll take my money and I'll move to another state. The rich people can move somewhere else. And a lot of there's concern, I have to be honest with you, among many of the Jewish people that I know. They are actually concerned, whether it's real or not. They believe it is so, and they believe that he is anti-Semitic, and they are willing to leave New York City as their main residence and move somewhere else or take their money somewhere else. You don't think that that is a legit concern?
I think that the concern of rich people, I want to start with that first, of rich people leaving is less important than the concern of people who have built their life and built New York leaving, people getting pushed out of the city. I don't think that anyone who can live in New York City as a billionaire doesn't want to live in New York City as a billionaire. It seems like a pretty great life to be living in New York City. It's the greatest city in the world for a reason. But yes, I've heard those concerns. But what Zoran has talked about on the campaign
I'm glad
trail,
you heard them, because then people will think I'm saying that. Thank you very much.
No. Sure, these are things that are, and you're saying it because this is what you hear when you go out and speak to people on the street. Like, I see those clips all the time. You're listening to people. You're just sharing their concerns. All I'd say is I have seen nothing. I've heard nothing. No one follows the Zoran Mamdani campaign more than I do, and I consume all of the content. And there's been nothing that he has said, except actually to the counter, that would suggest that any of that are reasonable. Any of those concerns are reasonable.
Let me ask you one more thing. What about Zoran Mamdani is going to be soft on homelessness, and not necessarily that you don't care about the homeless people, but you want them to have a better life and get off of the street. And then there are people who say, you know what, these folks should not be on the street. Some of them have mental issues. And he's also going to be soft on crime. We saw what happened during the pandemic. We saw what happened with getting rid of bail and all of that stuff. What is that a concern? Is that a legit concern in your eyes?
I hate to keep saying no here, but I just think this is maybe one of the best candidates that we have seen in a long time. These concerns about Zoran being, soft on crime, or echoes from 2020 or of defund the police just are not true. They're not true. He wants to make sure that police officers are doing the jobs that they were trained to do, that police officers who don't want to be responding to mental health crises, which exist across the city, we know that to be the truth. That's not their job. What that should be the job of is social workers, who Zoran wants to invest in. He wants to make sure that communities are safer. He has outlined countless plans on how he will put together not task forces that take 5 years to, figure out that maybe we should draw up a report about one day filing a claim. No, he wants to make sure that communities are safer by actually investing in the ways to make that happen. So I do, again, find those concerns to be a little unfounded with someone who has spoken with very great specifics about how he is not trying to take away from police departments, but to reallocate funds that aren't being spent correctly to make sure that officers who don't want to be handling those crises don't have to, but people who are equipped to actually can.
Cuomo did not help himself as far as, and this is something else that I hear as well. Cuomo, where has he been? He's not done a great job of campaigning. He's done a great job of raising a lot of money, but he has been MIA, as Ross Barkan also said in speaking to Tara Palmieri. Watch this.
Emergencies can strike at any time. That's why it's crucial to be prepared. Create a support system of...
And this has been a really lackluster front-running campaign. I think it's the worst I've ever seen, to be frank. He might still win, but this is the worst front-running major campaign I have seen on any level, from president down to local. It's really quite bad.
And why would you say that? Just because they're just not showing up, or their votes aren't in there?
I think the total lack of showing up, the lack of effort, Cuomo's sort of absent media strategy. I get it. You're going to get tough questions, right? But I mean, you could probably literally count on two hands the number of times he just has done open questions with reporters, like gaggles, press conferences. I mean, really very little media interaction. I think just little things, the signage is really bad. I mean, this is an aesthetic thing, but I remember when I went to his kickoff in March at the same place I'm actually about to go to, the Carpenters Union. And I saw these signs. They looked like they were designed by like an untalented fifth grader. Like, they're really the worst.
I'm going to steal one of my producer's lines. Not just a fifth grader, but an untalented one.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on.
It just is. It's true. The campaign.
I gotta go here. I gotta get this entertainment, y'all.
Not at this moment.
Yeah, y'all ready for some entertainment? Let's go.
It has been an
y'all want to laugh?
Insane 12 hours in the United States of America regarding foreign policy and the war between Israel and Iran, and it has only highlighted how incompetent and how not at this moment.
I only accept questions with a super
and
chat
mentally
or super
unstable President Taco Tits is. Last night, he puts out this post on Lie Social. Israel and Iran came to me almost simultaneously and said, please, I knew the time was now. The world and the Middle East are the real winners. Both nations will see tremendous love, peace, and prosperity in their futures. They have so much to gain and yet so much to lose if they stray from the road of righteousness and truth. The future for Israel and Iran is unlimited and filled with great promise. God bless you both. And Fox News was just so proud of him last night, you guys. They were so proud after he sent out this post. They didn't play the tape through. They just thought, oh my God, he put out this post. It's amazing. He saw the Middle East conundrum that has been fucking over the world for decades. Here's Jesse Waters on it.
No one knew a thing about it. We've got cruise missiles coming out of the water, 2.5 hours launched. They hit with precision timing while we crawl into Iranian airspace. And the return you could track on Uber Eats. They call us ahead of time. They tell us where it's going to be. I mean, at this point, we've got articles of impeachment against President Trump. Maybe it's time to carve Roosevelt off the of Rushmore and make a big granite hat, because this is one of the most impressive things we've seen in 50 years.
So impressive. They're going to put him on Mount Rushmore. Here's Kellyanne McEnany, and she's so proud of Trump.
Other than World War III, we may get more peace. And rather than 34 felony counts, President Trump may end up with 34 Nobel Peace Prizes. That was for the leftists. You can clip this and it can go viral.
We are clipping it, Kaylee. We are clipping it and making it go viral because you're a dipshit, a short-sighted dipshit that doesn't understand how serious this moment is. And your sole goal is not to report on the truth, but is to report to comfort a broken, senile man's old ego. Well, after all of that happened last night, Pumps, you'll be surprised, zero, that the bombing continued. Right. And Trump has to go get on Air Force One this morning, and the press is asking him about the ceasefire that he negotiated that was immediately broken. And here's what he had to say about that.
Yeah, we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
So if they don't know what the fuck they're doing, Taco Tits, why the fuck are you getting involved in it and taking a victory lap in all of your cult is putting you on Mount Rushmore and you're getting a Nobel Peace Prize. This is so
No, you didn't know what the fuck you were doing.
It is so wildly dangerous, and I got so tickled about the Nobel Peace Prizes. But what I see in Donald Trump's response this morning is he honestly believes all the horse shit that Fox News spews and that MAGA tells him, you're so great, you're so powerful, you can do anything. He did not understand that he got played. He did not understand that Benjamin Netanyahu led that horse to water, and he went did exactly what he wanted him to do. Now he's got egg all over his face, and he seems genuinely shocked that he's not the supreme emperor of the whole world. And let's just remember, too, he believes everything that Fox News says about him, but more dangerously, he believes and trusts Benjamin Netanyahu. Right. And he believes and trusts Vladimir Putin. And so the egg on his face is all day, every day, non-stop. And then this morning, it gets even crazier. So this is after he boards Air Force One and says that Iran and Israel don't know what the fuck they're doing, which, again, begs the question, Why are you involved in it? And is that a classic case of projection on your part? Because you're the one that doesn't know the fuck what you're doing, and you're way over your skis on this, because Benjamin Netanyahu has literally been playing 5D chess trying to get to Iran for decades. And something I just want to point out here really quick. Last night, when all of the Trump cultists were making their appearances and, like, you know, he's going to win a Nobel Peace Prize and all of this stuff, they were talking about how horrible Iran is to women. And they were talking about how horrible Iran is to gay people. And I have two things to say. Number one, what about Saudi Arabia? They're horrible to women and horrible to gay people. What about MAGA? What about evangelical Christianity? So if you want to join us in the movement to support human rights, welcome aboard, but you don't get to cherry pick whoever Benjamin Netanyahu wants to bomb, because Saudi Arabia, I want to remind everybody, they funded 9/11. Okay. So, I mean, this is just insane, and it's so intellectually dishonest. And all of these people are so over their skis on dealing with this. It's pathetic. But here's what Taco Tits put on after he said, you know what the fuck they're doing. Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do, it is a major violation. Bring your pilots home now. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. So first and foremost, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu, who is a war criminal right now, who starves out civilians in Gaza, is going to listen to you? He doesn't listen to anybody.
Your
he
pilots
is a maniacal
home right now.
Of shit. So you need to get that through your head. Then after that post, then he posts this, and this is just insane. Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. Nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. This tells me right here that somebody in Israel, either Benjamin Netanyahu or some people, some underlings, said, oh, yeah, the planes are over there, Pawpaw. You know, they're like, oh, Trump's got a day pass again from the memory wing at the nursing home. Oh, yeah, our planes, yeah. You're seeing on radar that our planes are overrun. Yeah, we're just doing a friendly wave. Don't worry, we're doing the ceasefire, big buddy. You go on to the Netherlands. Nobody takes this man seriously. And the reason that Benjamin Netanyahu felt like he could be provocative with Iran is because the United States executive branch and the United States Department of Defense has never, ever, ever been this compromised in the history of our country. And you have the United States, which used to be a world leader in all of these things, getting dog walked by these dictators because Trump is so impotent, ignorant, stupid, and deranged that they just sit here and play him and manipulate him. And
they don't manipulate him. He knows exactly. No, he shouldn't fall for the banana because he thinks he's the smartest.
You're getting played here, buddy. Nobody tells him, because the White House and the Trump administration are like WWE. It's all fake. It's all grandstanding and boasting. Nobody has an ounce of sense. This man, we should be talking about this man conducting foreign policy on a failed social media platform all day, every day. We should be talking about the fact that he couldn't spell his name correctly yesterday, hence now he's signing all of his live socials because he wants to prove he can sign his name. But I agree with you. We are the weakest we have ever been. Who is advising him? Is it Pete Hegseth? Oh, no, we figured out he's just going with his vibe. It's just a vibe. People's lives are at stake. I'll tell you who's advising him. It's Benjamin Netanyahu. And Vladimir. That's fair. That's fair. Who's advising the President of the United States. So this man who comes out with this America First agenda is always putting the needs of other countries to before our own. And I just want to say, and I think this needs to be hammered nonstop, because I watched some corporate news last night and I saw how all of the Trump sycophants were spinning this. Iran shouts death to America. Iran throws gay people off buildings. Iran is terrible to women. Well, number one, I'm so pleased to hear that you all care about gay rights and women's rights. But number two, Saudi Arabia funded 9/11. Saudi Arabia dismembered Jamal Khashoggi turned him into acid and poured him down the drain. And the United States of America goes over to Saudi Arabia and plays patty cake. And guess what, Saudi Arabia, what they are with human rights? Women, none. Gay people, none. So if you're going to be for human rights, have some clarity about it. Don't cherry pick when you have to, we care about human rights right now because we're going to make Iran great again. This is the type of moral duplicity that exists in evangelical Christianity that sets the psychological soil for this type of dissonance to live and kill democracy. And it does it time and time again.
God bless America.
There is this whole movement right now that where if you speak out against Benjamin Netanyahu and you speak out against the Israeli government, then you feel scared that you're going to be labeled an anti-Semite. And nobody is more anti-Semitic than the deluded rapture preppers surrounding Donald Trump that want the Jews to be in Israel for their apocalyptic fantasy to play out when Jesus Christ comes down and guess what? Sends them all to hell to burn forever in their mind. I don't believe that shit. I think that's magical thinking bullshit. But these people do. And this is the way that these dictators gain access to power is through the weak intellectual Americans. And the intellectually weak Americans are the religious right. They are our weakness, and they have sought power for decades, and they've got it. And they have this fucking moron that they can dog walk as well. So all I know is this. Trump defers to Vladimir Putin. Trump defers to Benjamin Netanyahu. And Trump defers to these crazy, hardline evangelical Christians who, by the way, we played a tape yesterday, just do a little casual tongue talking on their way in to work at the White House every morning.
For most businesses, hiring can take a long time.
Oh my goodness, they are funny to me.
She uses ZipRecruiter to find quality candidates.
This is insane. But then you talk to Democratic politicians and it's like, oh, well, I don't want to judge anybody's religion. Fuck that. Judge it. They're breathtaking hypocrites. They're breathtaking hypocrites. And for them to sit around and act like Iran is the problem when they have the exact same thing. I mean, we're taking away women's rights. Women are dying in this country. They are taking every protection away from Black and brown people. We have zero due process. The homophobia is at a fever pitch. And I look at Saudi Arabia, and that's such a great point you make. You know why Saudi Arabia gets a pass? Because he gives money to Trump and his family members. That's why. Because Donald Trump can be bought. Full stop.
Oh, absolutely.
United States has had a long time problem with Saudi Arabia. No, I know, because we're stuck on that oil tit. And if Obama goes over there, every United States president does it. And we've had a long lack of moral clarity regarding this. And both sides, the Democrats and the Republicans, like to say that, oh, they say death to America, Iran, and they're trying to get a nuclear weapon. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is far more insidious because they come over and go, oh, we're going to host a golf tournament. We're going to sports wash our image. Meanwhile, they were the funders of 9/11. That moment when we saw as Americans sitting at home or at work watching a TV when planes flew into the World Trade Center, that was funded by the Saudis. These were not rogue actors. And yet what happens? They get a pass from every administration. And so this is what I think is at the heart of the American problem right now. A lack of clarity and always a deference to money. Always. And who's lost in all of that are working class Americans get dicked over and get dicked over. So they were with the Democrats for a long time, and then they've left, and now they're over with the Republicans a long time. And both times they get fucked over by both parties. And that fuck over, that dick over of the middle class is what has left this vacuum for Donald Trump.
Oh, no, don't leave now. Don't leave. I got something to show you.
Our entire
Hi, Patrick.
country. All right, that's all we have for today. We'll see you all later.
Yeah, let's go. Don't go now. Don't go. I got something to show y'all. Let me show y'all the real reason why he the way he is. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go now. But can you double click the like button? Or y'all too mad? Y'all too mad? Y'all mad at me? Mission not accomplished. Oh, don't go. You don't run now. You can't run. You can't hide. Trump lover. Don't go now. Y'all got to take this L, baby. Y'all got to take this L and get the egg off your face. But you got to take the L. You got to take one for your team. Y'all got to take this L. Got to take it, baby. It's a way down here. Yeah, y'all got to take this L. I want to show y'all why he the way he is, though, for real. All jokes aside. He don't even like himself. His last name ain't even Trump. It's his real last name, Trump. I need to put that on a poll. Is Donald Trump real last name Trump? Let's put that on a poll. I'm gonna put that on the poll. Oh no, I messed up. Let me take that down in that. Is Donald Trump real last name Trump? I mean, because we may get to the root of what the problem is. Is Donald Trump real last name Trump? Yeah, let's do this. Is Donald J. Trump real last name Trump? Let's go. Yeah, you know, we can laugh. Y'all mad, y'all done left. Why, what you leaving for? Is his real last name Trump? Is he really a Trump? Where is this? Where is it at? I just saw it over there. Why is it over here? Well, hold on. Let me do it like this. Let me do it like this. Let me do it like this. Oh, y'all leaving there. Y'all mad. Y'all don't want, y'all say, we are not finna go here because we do not want the truth out. Well, the truth gonna set you free because y'all finna understand why he the way he is. Because this is a sickness and y'all keep falling for this banana in the tailpipe. I just saw it. Where is that? I just saw it. Now, come on now. Let me hit refresh. I know. I gotta show the people. We the people, we gotta see this. I saved it just for them. Where is it at? I want people to understand why he is the way he is. So we'll have a better understanding. So then maybe our forgiveness you know, if we know the root to the problem, maybe our understanding would be better. Why can't I find it though? I'm gonna play it anyway, as soon as I find it. Did he take it down? Did they take it down? Let me play y'all something else until I can get it up. Let me go back here.
Last piece too.
What did Donald Trump do to Congo and Africa? And can someone please?
Don't nobody want to do the
can someone
poll?
alert me in the chat if you know what she's talking about. Like, wait, what?
Y'all don't want to do the poll?
It is. This is the woman that they were like, blink when she gave her response to the State of the Union. And they were like, blink twice. Was this her? Is this the woman, right? But back it up a little bit. Because what is she talking about? Pakistan, what is she talking about? Okay, here we go. With another Trump glaze, or two of them, Sean Hannity and Mark Wayne Mullen. Okay, keep going.
Absolutely. Look, President Trump is going to win the Nobel Peace Prize, no doubt. You look at what he's done with the Congo and Rwanda. You look at where he is with Pakistan and India and what he's done there. And then you look at this, what everyone talked about, but no one thought was possible. He has brought peace to a region that needed stability. He has shown what America First policy actually is. He's made sure that he's preserving American lives at every single turn. Look, President Trump understands what we need. We need a president who is unafraid to act and that stands firmly with the American citizens. That's what we saw today. And look, Democrats don't know what to say. I mean, their silence has never been louder, if you know what I mean. And I think it's because President Trump just keeps winning and they don't know what to do.
All right, slow down, ma'am. Your orange is showing. Crawl out of there. Back on up.
Back that thing up.
She's so far up there, she can't see reality. What on earth is she talking about? Look, I think there's a better way of playing this entire thing. So can we back it up to the beginning, Andy? And can you give me the sound that should be going under this? And I want people to be able to hear it. This is how it should be. This is how this should be played. Here it is.
Absolutely. Look, President Trump is going to win the Nobel Peace Prize, no doubt. You look at what he's done with the Congo and Rwanda. You look at where he is with Pakistan and India and what he's done there. And then you look at this, what everyone talked about but no one thought was possible. He has brought peace to a region that needed stability. He has shown what America First policy actually is. He's made sure that he's preserving American lives at every single turn. Look, President Trump understands what we need. We need a president who is unafraid to act.
Senator Katie Britt, come on now. Girl. That's how we get through this, I think.
Just laugh at it.
You need a little laughter.
I agree.
This is ridiculous. Sean Hannity, this is Stephen Miller. Trump's commitment to peace is amazing.
Laugh about it.
Middle East. President Trump, once again, has demonstrated that he alone has the wisdom, the judgment, the strength, and the courage to see this nation through.
Ladies, let me ask you this. What shade of lipstick is this? Is this Jungle Red? What is this? Is this MAC? Is it a Fenty? Like, what shade of lipstick is Stephen Miller wearing on here? I'm just saying, sorry to interrupt. All right, back. Squidward. What is that? Okay, so let's see. Okay, go back to the beginning, please. Here we go.
Middle East. President Trump once again has demonstrated that he alone has the wisdom, the judgment, the strength, and the courage to see this nation through the most dangerous challenges we face around the world, Sean.
It is amazing his persistence when it comes to the issue of peace, and all credit to the president for that.
Okay, so I think there's a better way of playing this one as well. Let's go.
Let's go.
Middle East. President Trump once again has demonstrated that he alone has the wisdom, the judgment, the strength, and the courage to see this nation through the most dangerous challenges we face around the world, Sean.
It is amazing his persistence when it comes to the issue of peace, and all credit to the president for that.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. And I love the red. Someone said he's wearing racist red. Someone said Kool-Aid.
Oh my God.
Cheeto flavor. I don't know. What else is he wearing? Red and orange Kool-Aid. SpongeBob Don. I don't know what color. That is a crazy lipstick color that he's wearing. Crazy. Who did his makeup? Is it Trump's makeup person who did his makeup? I don't know what's going on here. All right. Wow. Tommy Lahren. Let's hear from Tommy Lahren.
It's just a tweet here.
Oh, it's a tweet. All right. Tommy Lahren is saying, let me turn on my do not disturb while you guys read Tommy Lahren, and I'll get back because you can hear all of my messages popping up. There we go. Tommy Lahren is saying, congratulations to Donald Trump says, congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final mission for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 3, savings gains. Setting up your financial future, Credit Karma.
During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful, in all caps, on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, the courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the world. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Now, he did not misspell his name today, so we'll give him some credit for that. But for the rest of that shit, he was really off on it because it did not work. There was no damn ceasefire. Israel and Iran were looking at him like, what the fuck is he talking about, fool? Ain't nobody stopping. Nobody's stopping any firing here. We're going to continue what we've been doing for decades, perhaps centuries. We're going to fight. We're fighting. I'm sorry. You can't stop it. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move.
Ain't no stopping us now.
But he was trying to shake reality. At which point, in the first 12 hours, the 12-day war will have ended. Show me what Tommy Lahren says, okay? Tommy Lahren says, ooh, shortest World War III ever. Tommy Lahren, oh my gosh. And then here is Sargon, glazing Donald Trump on social media. Who is this woman? She's just emerged, I think. I don't know.
The shortest ever.
That shit. Yes. And she's drank so much orange Kool-Aid. We just witnessed an incredible display of peace through strength. The president protected our future without sacrificing a single American life. The impact of President Trump's masterful navigation of this past week will be felt for decades. We're living through historic times. What an idiot. How do these people feel now? How do these people feel now. This is what NPR is reporting. Trump says both sides violated the ceasefire, and he is not happy about it. He is not happy about it. Okay, so plug your ears, because you know, the Trump folks, they have tender ears, especially when I say words like F, when I say the F-bomb, they get all bent out of shape. But here's your dear leader, the one, how does he go, Donald, whatever he calls his name, Donald Trump. Here it is.
Iran violated the peace agreement, the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them.
You created this special deal with them. They're supposed to do what you say.
Out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. You understand that?
You understand that? I mean, custom smooth out.
What?
Where they do that at? Oh, he was invested, wasn't he?
If I had some pearls, I'd clutch him.
See this type of shit he did with Putin.
Oh my gosh!
The last time he was in office.
There goes his Nobel Peace Prize. Here's the thing. All right, come on, y'all. Look, come on. Let me.
He had a meltdown.
Donald Trump is now, and the MAGA folks, Donald Trump is now upset that basically Israel and Iran Donald Trumped him. They
trumped him.
They Donald Trumped him. They did not keep whatever promise he thought that they were going to keep. Oh, they lied to him. Donald Trump, that's what you do every single day.
We had a plan.
To America.
We had a deal.
Every single day, and you are now shocked that Israel and Iran
everybody was supposed to go along with her.
Are you shocked? Are you? He mad.
Oh, he mad.
Are you kidding me?
He mad.
This reminds me of what we've been talking about. Was it last week and this week? Last week and this week. The MAGA people, the Tucker Carlsons of the world, the Candace Owens of the world, the Charlie Kirks of the world. Give me another Republican or MAGA person who's like, Donald Trump lied to us about peace. And I'm not down with this and how, whatever. You're shocked that someone who lied so much to you? Are you really shocked about that? This was going to be the kicker of the show. Can you just give me the TikToker? Because this guy is actually 100% right. You were shocked, Donald Trump?
You shocked because
Israel and Iran lied to you?
Oh, yeah.
And now the MAGA folks are also shocked that Donald Trump lied to them?
Oh, yeah, he hot.
This dude, watch this. This dude has it right on.
Oh, but let's go.
This is where you just believed that a freaking politician was actually trustworthy, that whenever he said he would stay out of these wars and bring world peace, that America would be America first, not Israel first.
They played him. They played his ass. They played all up in his face.
He was convicted 34 times of tax evasion. He lied 35,000 times during his first term, and he cheated on multiple wives.
Absolutely.
We knew that he wasn't honest.
I guess they did.
That's on you.
Yeah, and then y'all mad because we knew he wasn't, and y'all believed him. Don't be mad at us.
There.
Do not be mad at us.
I mean, seriously though, for real?
For real though?
Anyways, so that's how I feel about Donald Trump when he goes, they don't know what the F they're doing. Perhaps you don't know what the F you're doing, Mr. Art of the Deal. There's no art in your deal at all. There's no deal.
He trying to make up.
And that stupid hat. It's the "and that stupid hat" for me. That's the one for me. And they're not talking about this hat, because this is the hat that you need. This is the hat you can get on the
He
merch
got
store
off that plane
Don
mad as hell.
This is the hat
cussing
that
out
everybody
folks.
needs. Make America lemon nation.
They don't know what
again.
the fuck they were doing.
That's
We had
what
a
we need.
plan. I need for the
Make
plan
America
to go
lemon nation.
through.
Something like that.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make.
Hold on. I'm trying to get over here. Oh my goodness. Y'all believe the hype. Y'all fell for the banana in the tailpipe. And then y'all mad at everybody else because they didn't. How dare y'all? Oh yeah, he was mad as fuck earlier today. I mean, he was mad. And I'm really mad about it. As if the world gonna stop because you mad. What the happened? The court dropped unexpected ruling. Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Oh wow, where did it go? He must have pulled it. Donnie boy, did you pull it? Well, in the meantime, while I'm looking for it, we're going to go right back here. I want y'all, a few people that done came up in here. I have been using the GLP-1 injections through hers for 4 months. I have lost 30 pounds.
It would be a de facto declaration of war against the United States of America. On June 12, 2025, the State of Israel initiated attacks on Iran.
Don't be mad at the
ostensibly to target sites and individuals of importance to Iran's nuclear program. Iran retaliated, and the conflict has escalated between Israel and Iran. Though at no point did Iran pose any imminent threat to the United States. On June 21, 2025, President Trump announced successful attacks on 3 nuclear sites in Iran: Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, via his social media network, Truth Social. President Trump has failed to seek prior congressionally mandated authorization for the use of military force. Congressional leaders were not appropriately briefed or notified of the attack plans, despite foreign leaders being given advance notice of the planned U.S. military action.
He working with the foreign leaders.
President Trump's unilateral, unprovoked use of force without congressional authorization or notice constitutes an abuse of power when there was no imminent threat to the United States.
None.
Which facilitates the devolution of American democracy into authoritarianism, with an authoritarian president who has instigated an attack on the United States Capitol,
families have been hurted,
denied persons due process of the law, and called for the impeachment of federal judges who ruled against him, making Donald J. Trump a threat to American democracy. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of the United States Constitution grants Congress the sole power to declare war. Quote, the Congress shall have the power to declare war, end quote. At the time, the framers of the Constitution emphasized the goal of limiting the monarchical power of any single individual person to take a country to war over personal whims and preferences. No constitutional exception exists for a successful military action.
And welcome back here to Live Now from
in starting his illegal and unconstitutional war with Iran without the constitutionally mandated consent of Congress or appropriate notice to Congress, President Trump acted in direct violation of the War Powers Clause of the Constitution. President Trump has devolved and continues to devolve American democracy into authoritarianism by disregarding the separation of powers and now usurping congressional war.
To my friends in the Senate, lock yourself in a room if you must. Don't go home and get the deal done this week. Work with the House so they can pick it up and pass it immediately. No one goes on vacation until it's done. Everyone, most importantly, the American people, will be much better off thanks to our work together. Make America great again. But our friend and colleague, Fox's Connor Hansen, highlights and outlines some of the snags still out there with the big, beautiful bill. Let's listen.
After securing a ceasefire in the Middle East, President Trump's focus is shifting back to his domestic agenda. He wants Senate Republicans to work out their disagreements on his big, beautiful bill by the end of this week. The president wrote, quote, "Lock yourself in a room if you must. Don't go home."
Failure here is not an option, and this is the fulfillment and implementation, this bill, of the president's agenda.
A lot hinges on how fast the Senate can finish its work and how many changes it hands back to the House. House Republicans have been told not to go on vacation for the 4th of July weekend until they are done.
If the Senate does its work on the timeline that we expect, we will do our work as well.
The original version barely passed in the House. GOP senators are still working out complicated issues like the state and local tax cap, a red line for House Republicans in states like New York and California. Soon, senators will begin what's called a vote-a-rama, a marathon session of roll call votes on amendments. Democrats plan to use that time to put their objections on the record.
Will force Republicans to explain in multiple ways again and again and again why they want to cut taxes for the rich at the expense of working people.
Today, classified briefings on the U.S. strikes in Iran were postponed, which could delay the Senate's vote on the big, beautiful bill. They hope to begin votes on the key legislation Friday. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Melania, and it turns out Trump fell for this trick not once, but twice. His first wife, Ivana, also didn't give him her number right away. Looks like Trump has a thing for a little mystery.
The time with him? No, I don't. And I tell him that.
Before jumping to conclusions, let's think about this. Melania might not have known she was breaking the rules. The 90s fashion scene in New York was full of models working in a gray area, with agencies not exactly spelling out the legal stuff. It was common for models to come on tourist visas without realizing they weren't allowed to work. Or she might not have been paid at all, just posing for exposure to build her career.
We were making this kind of magazine to have exposure, and this exposure was bringing you to the next level to have catalog, campaign, and everything.
But there's also the other side of the coin. What if she did know and did get paid? That could mean visa fraud. However...
Oh, not Donna. Oh, no, not Donna. Not Mr. I Hate Immigration. Let's go. I can't stand when people come over here illegally. Not him. Where the volume? Pump up the volume.
Confirmed she entered the U.S. Correctly went through the legal process, she wrote.
I follow the law. I follow a law the way it's supposed to be. I never thought to stay here without papers.
Still, doubts lingered, as no full documentation was ever released. But controversy or not, her career in the 90s was moving full speed ahead. Then came her big break in 1998, when Paolo Zampoli introduced her to Donald Trump.
We met in New York. It was a fashion week and it was a party, big party. So we met there.
Now Trump,
A big
with
freak
his flashy
out.
reputation,
It was a big
didn't
freak
exactly
out.
sweep Melania off her feet right away. In fact, she famously didn't give him her number immediately.
So he asked me for the number and I said, I will not give you my number. So if you give me your numbers, I will call you.
Classic move, Melania. And it turns out Trump fell for this trick not once, but twice. His first wife, Ivana, also didn't give him her number right away. Looks like Trump has a thing for a little mystery.
I don't know what is Melania's problem. She just has to get over it. She's First Lady of America, but I'm First Lady Trump. Excuse me.
Their relationship started off a bit unconventional. I mean, Trump was even talking about universal health care, which is definitely not what you'd expect from him. But as Melania got to know him, she realized he was serious about running for president one day.
I have been with Donald for 18 years, and I have been aware of his love for this country since we first met.
Meanwhile, in 2000, Melania set her sights on something big. She applied for the EB-1 visa, aka Einstein visa.
She received a so-called Einstein visa, possibly. Because when she told her friends she was dating Donald Trump, they said, way to go, Einstein.
To qualify, applicants have to show proof of major achievements or meet 3 out of 10 specific criteria that demonstrate excellence in their field. This could include media coverage, groundbreaking contributions, or having work showcased in major exhibitions. The EB-1 is typically awarded to high achievers like Pulitzer, Oscar, or Olympic winners, respected researchers, and top executives. And guess what? By 2001, she was one of just 5 Slovenians to score this prestigious visa that year. Wow, she must have been an absolutely outstanding model to earn such recognition.
I obeyed the law. I did it the right way. I didn't just sneak in and stay here.
At the time, Melania was still modeling in New York and dating Trump. Definitely a big step up. But even bigger things were on the horizon. Becoming Mrs. Trump. They eventually tied the knot in a lavish 2005 ceremony, surrounded by flowers and celebrities, but almost none of Melania's old friends were there. Guess those high-profile guest lists come with a few trade-offs.
Did you feel different when they said man and wife?
No. I felt that it was just so natural.
In 2006, just a year after their wedding, Melania gave birth to their son, Barron.
I like my suitcase. I have to go to school now. Yeah.
That same year, she became a U.S. citizen through the Einstein visa she'd secured earlier.
I was very proud to become citizens of the United States.
Now, as a U.S. citizen, she had the right to sponsor her parents, Victor and Amalia Knovs, who were sworn in as U.S. citizens in 2018. Pretty full circle, right?
But do you think people should be able to bring in their mother and their father?
Yes, of course.
2 of his 3 wives moved to the U.S. from Eastern Europe. So let's rewind and take a closer look. According to biographer Gwenda Blair, the Trump family goes way back to a German lawyer named Hans Drumpf, who settled in the village of Karlstadt in the early 1600s. Yes, Drumpf. That was the original surname.
What's the surname?
During the chaos of the 30 Years' War.
So his name ain't Trump?
Fast forward a couple centuries, and we get to Donald Trump's grandfather, Friedrich Trump, born in Karlstadt in 1869.
This is the birth certificate of Donald Trump.
What's his real last name? What is it? Trump. It ain't Trump. You lying.
Born in 1869, close to Bad Dürkheim. And his Christian name was Friedrich. That's serious German. Serious German name.
Friedrich didn't exactly leave Germany on great terms. In 1885, at just 16 years old,
his
he
last
boarded a ship
name
to
really
America
ain't Trump.
without having fulfilled the required 2 years of military service in the Kingdom of Bavaria. That made his departure illegal under Bavarian law. According to Blair, people from the Pfalz region, where
they
Friedrich
came
was
over
born,
illegally?
were desperate to escape generations of war, poverty, and foreign invasions.
Well, the people in Karlstad are very reliable, strong people. And I feel that about myself.
When Friedrich arrived in the U.S., he didn't speak much English and had no formal occupation. Records
He
list
came
him as
over
having none,
illegally.
but that didn't stop him. By the 1890s, he was speculating in real estate and during the Klondike Gold Rush, he really struck gold by opening a restaurant and, allegedly, a brothel catering to minors in the Yukon. Yep, that's where the Trump fortune began. In 1901, Friedrich went back to Germany and married a young woman from his hometown, Elizabeth Christ. But their plans to settle down there hit a wall. Because Friedrich had left Germany without military service, the Bavarian government stripped him of his citizenship in 1905.
So he broke the law?
So he packed up his wife and returned to America. Elizabeth Christ Trump, Donald's grandmother, was now an immigrant herself.
His last name is
and she
Christ?
reportedly never fully adjusted to life
His grandmother's last name is
moving
Christ?
back to Germany at one point, but were turned away. Back in Queens, Friedrich ran a restaurant and started acquiring real estate. Sadly, he died young.
Grandfather last name wasn't Trump?
During the 1918 flu pandemic, leaving behind his wife, Elizabeth, and their young children.
Oh, his grandfather died in a pandemic? I thought he said he ain't never heard of no pandemic before. I thought when COVID-19, he act like he ain't never heard of that before. He ain't never heard of that. And that's how his great-grandfather died? You lying to me? He been deceived. Oh, he's just a deceiver. Yeah, that's how his great-grandfather died. Yeah. In a pandemic. But it was puzzling me that his heritage were immigrants. Yeah. He don't never talk about that, do it. Yeah. Yeah. Evaded the military and all, just everything he hates. Everything that he despises is who he is.
Fred Trump, who would go on to become Donald's father.
And my father is German, right? Was German.
She arrived in the U.S. in 1930 at age 17,
German, like
with
Hitler.
$50 in her pocket,
like Hitler,
less than $1,000 in today's money, and moved in with her sister in Queens.
Your mother got on a ship in 1930 to Transylvania from Glasgow.
Very young.
Mary worked as a domestic servant for several years.
So she got on the
some
ship.
Sources describe rather bluntly. She was dirt poor, escaping even worse poverty back home in Scotland, which had been hit hard by the clearances in World War I.
She was 18, maybe 19, and she met my father, and they were married very happily for many decades. Very good marriage.
Mary Ann's immigration status? She entered the country legally with the intent to stay permanently, and later became a naturalized U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Donald Trump's first wife, Ivana, was also an immigrant. Born in Czechoslovakia, she married an Austrian ski instructor, which helped her get an Austrian passport.
Everything that he hates.
That opened the door for her to move to Canada, and eventually the U.S., where she became a citizen in 1988, nearly a decade after marrying Donald. Now let's talk about another immigrant in Trump's life. His
Another
current
one?
wife, Melania.
Oh, yeah.
In 2016, the Associated Press dropped a bombshell. They claimed Melania Trump may have broken immigration law when she first came to the U.S. in 1996.
Not Melania.
I came to United States, to New York, in 1996.
According to their investigation, she entered on a tourist visa but started working as a model before getting a proper work visa. Now, immigration rules can be tricky. What's legal and what's not isn't always crystal clear.
I came here on visa. I flew to Slovenia every few months to stamp it.
Melania's own words kind of back up the idea that she came to the U.S. on a tourist visa. She mentioned flying to Slovenia every few months to stamp it, which suggests she had a visa that needed regular updates. The thing is, a tourist visa like that doesn't actually let you work in the U.S. So this raises some questions about how she was able to work as a model during that time.
Because I believe that we need to be very vigilant who is coming to the country.
So here's what the AP found. Melania arrived in August 1996 on a B1/B2 tourist visa, which let her stay in the U.S. for 6 months but didn't allow her to work. Then on October 18th, She officially got an H-1B visa, which made her employment legal. Sounds fine, right? Well, not quite, because according to the records, she had already been paid for 10 modeling jobs between September 10th and October 15th. In other words, she was working while still on a tourist visa, which technically was a violation. Fun fact, Donald Trump has been a vocal critic of the H-1B visa, calling it a tool to undercut American workers. In 2016, he even vowed to end forever the use of the H-1B as a cheap labor program. Given that Melania herself once held one, you have to wonder, was that an awkward conversation at home?
Well, do I agree all the time with him? No, I don't. And I tell him that.
Before jumping to conclusions, let's think about this. Melania might not have known she was breaking the rules. The 90s fashion scene in New York was full of models working in a gray area, with agencies not exactly spelling out the legal stuff. It was common for models to come on tourist visas without realizing they weren't allowed to work. Or she might not have been paid at all, just posing for exposure to build her career.
We were making this kind of magazine to have exposure, and this exposure was bringing you to the next level to have catalog, campaign, and everything.
But there's also the other side of the coin. What if she did know and did get paid? That could mean visa fraud. However, Melania and the Trump team have firmly denied any wrongdoing, claiming she followed all the legal steps.
Of course,
in 2016, she tweeted a letter from her attorney saying he checked her records and confirmed she entered the U.S. legally in 1996 and followed visa rules. With 100% certainty, I correctly went through the legal process, she wrote.
I follow the law. I follow a law the way it's supposed to be. I never thought to stay here without papers.
Still, doubts lingered, as no full documentation was ever released. But controversy or not, her career in the 90s was moving full speed ahead. Then came her big break in 1998, when Paolo Zampoli introduced her to Donald Trump.
Oh, so he got this on.
It was a fashion week, and it was a big party, so we met there.
Now Trump, with his flashy reputation, didn't exactly sweep Melania off her feet right away. In fact, she famously didn't give him her number immediately.
Oh yeah, nah, this ain't the one I want.
He asked me for the number, and I said, I will not give you my number. So if you give me your
this
numbers,
ain't the one I want.
I will call.
He done did something to this one. This the one.
Donald Trump has built a political brand on strong anti-immigration.
Y'all ready for this one? Oh yeah, I need for y'all to understand why. I'm trying to understand why y'all be believing all these lies, like it's the truth. You know, I'm looking out for y'all's safety, not mine. I'm looking out for y'all best interests. I hope y'all understand, because y'all took an L today, baby. When I tell you, y'all took an L for believing the hype. Yeah, they done got up out of here, baby.
Donald Trump is one of the most polarizing figures.
He the most what? So, y'all talking about 50-50. It ain't no 50-50. His legal last name is not Trump. His forefather's last name is not Trump at all. It's close, but it is not Trump. And he know that. Okay.
In modern politics, loud,
Where the volume? I need for this to be up. Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume. Okay, y'all. Let's just do a little fact check.
Predictable and always in the spotlight. But what made him this way? Was he simply born to stir chaos, or is there something deeper at play? As with most things, the answers often start in childhood. Was it his domineering father, an emotionally distant mother?
An emotionally distant mama? Now, what time? Every time I come right here, you start doing something crazy. You don't want y'all to know the truth. You don't want y'all to know the truth. Well, let me go out and come back in. Because we gonna learn the truth today, baby. The truth gonna set us free. The truth will set you free. Truth will set you free.
Donald Trump is one of the most polarizing figures in modern politics. Loud, unpredictable, and always in the spotlight. But what made him this way? Was he simply born to stir chaos, or is there something deeper at play? As with most things, the answers often start in childhood.
Yep.
Was it his domineering father, an emotionally distant mother?
So it's a problem right here. Oh, okay. Okay. I know how to fix that. Let me see if it's just the video.
Look, according to biographer Gwenda Blair, the Trump family goes way back to a German lawyer named Hans Drumpf.
Is this
Donald
the one?
Trump has built a political brand on strong anti-immigration rhetoric. But what if I told you his own story is deeply rooted in immigration? His grandparents came from Germany, his mother from Scotland, and 2 of his 3 wives moved to the US from Eastern Europe. So let's rewind and take a closer look. According to biographer Gwenda Blair, the Trump family goes way back to a German lawyer named Hans Drumpf, who settled in the village of Karlstadt in the early 1600s.
No, that's
yes,
not the one.
Drumpf. That was
Drumpf.
the original surname.
D-R-U-M-F.
It was later changed to Trump during the chaos of the 30 Years'
So
War.
for the ones of y'all who thought, hold on, I
Centuries, and
forgot
we get
about
to Donald
that.
Trump's
Hold on.
grandfather, Friedrich Years' War. Fast forward
Hold on.
Karlstadt in the early 1600s. Yes, Drumpf. That was the original surname. It was later changed to Trump. The Trump family goes way back to a German lawyer named Hans Drumpf, who settled in the village of Karlstadt in the early 1600s. Yes, Drumpf.
This is his real last name. Hold on. I want y'all to see it. That's right, because so if you want to do some research on it, you can. It's not Trump. It looked like dumb, don't it? Dumb or something. This is his real surname.
Donald Trump is one of the most polarizing figures in modern politics. Loud, unpredictable, and always in the spotlight. But what made him this way? Was he simply born to stir chaos, or is there something deeper at lines?
What people think of me is not necessarily nice, but they think of me as very competent.
Let's look at the early years that shaped the man behind the headlines.
What people think of me is not necessarily nice, but they think of me as very competent.
Born on June 14, 1946 in Queens, New York, Donald was the fourth of 5 children in the Trump family. His siblings include his older sisters, Marianne and Elizabeth, his brother Fred, and his younger brother Robert. Donald's dad, Fred, was loud, commanding, and obsessed with success. Meanwhile, his mom, Mary, she was this elegant Scottish immigrant who came to the U.S. at just 18 years old. Beautiful, proper, and religious.
Where were you born? In a little town called Stornoway, at the island of Lewis, way up in the Hebrides.
But behind that polished exterior was a woman who went through some serious health issues. When Donald was just 2 years old, Mary nearly died during childbirth. She had major complications after delivering Donald's younger brother Robert, emergency surgery, a long recovery, and during that time, she was mostly absent from little Donald's life.
It's not been easy for me.
Now, psychologists say that when young kids don't get consistent care from their mothers, especially during those early years, they can grow up with avoidant attachment. And if you're wondering what that means, think of someone who doesn't trust people easily, avoids intimacy, and prides themselves on being totally self-reliant. Sound familiar?
I am the chosen one.
Yes, it's basically a play-by-play of how Trump presents himself. He often brags that he doesn't need anyone, that he doesn't have time for self-doubt, that he's always been the smartest person.
You're not known to be a humble man, but I wonder. I think I am actually humble. I think I'm much more humble than you would have.
Oh, he got an attitude. We saw that attitude right here today. Yeah, Oh yeah, he got an attitude. I got a new attitude.
Trump surrounds himself with people, but rarely seems to form deep friendships. And even in romantic relationships, 3 marriages later, the pattern continues. So what about Mary?
So why didn't you marry her right away when you found out she was pregnant? Why did you
Indecision.
Indecision.
Really indecision.
Well, Donald has said she was fantastic, tremendous, very loving. But here's the thing. There are almost no stories or memories to back that up. Family friends who knew the Trumps when the kids were little said they hardly ever saw Mary around. In fact, they say Donald seemed very detached from her. It was Fred who got his admiration, Fred who Donald tried to impress. And here's where it gets even more interesting.
So I watched my father, so I like to work.
People with avoidant attachment often idealize their parents, even when there's not much real evidence to support it. It's like they've memorized a script instead of remembering real moments.
Oh yeah, he definitely have memorized the script.
He sees she was beautiful, that she had great taste, and liked to say, trust in God and be true to yourself. That's pretty much it. No deeper stories, no warm childhood memories, just polished surface-level lines.
My mother was a great person.
Even when Trump visited his mother's childhood home on the Isle of Lewis in Scotland,
she's the
he
best
stayed for
woman in the
all
world.
of, wait for it, 97 seconds. 97? He said he was honoring her memory with his Scottish golf course, made all these grand promises to donate to local charities and restore a castle.
And did he do it? Did he do it? Was it a ceasefire? Oh, no. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay.
Lines.
My mother was a great person.
Even when Trump, friends who knew the Trumps when the kids were little said they hardly ever saw Mary around. In fact, they say Donald seemed very detached from her. It was Fred who got his admiration, Fred who Donald tried to impress. And here's where it gets even more interesting.
So I watched my father, so I like to work.
People with avoidant attachment often idealize their parents, even when there's not much real evidence to support it. It's like they've memorized a script instead of remembering real moments. Trump's praise of his mom sounds just like that. He sees she was beautiful, that she had great taste, and liked to say, trust in God and be true to yourself. That's pretty much it. No deeper stories, no warm childhood memories, just polished surface-level lines.
My mother was a great person.
Even when Trump visited his mother's childhood home on the Isle of Lewis in Scotland, he stayed for all of, wait for it, 97 seconds. 97? He said he was honoring her memory with his Scottish golf course, made all these grand promises to donate to local charities and restore a castle.
My mother never lost her feeling for Scotland. She loved Scotland more than anything.
But surprise, surprise. Surprise. None of that really happened. It's like he wanted to be seen doing something for her, but didn't actually want to connect with who she was. And if you take a moment to compare Mary Trump to Donald's first wife, Ivana, well, the resemblance is striking. The same glamorous blonde hair, similar facial features, that polished, commanding presence. It's hard not to notice. It's like he married a version of his mother. Freud would have had a field day in Trump Tower, no doubt. But perhaps the most telling quote of all comes from Mary herself. According to reports during Donald's messy divorce from Ivana, Mary turned to her daughter-in-law and said, "What kind of son have I created? Yikes." And let's not forget, Donald's always loved being the center of attention. He says he got his showmanship from his mother. But researchers say that kind of constant need to be in the spotlight isn't always just about confidence. Sometimes it's about needing to be seen, because deep down, maybe you felt unseen when it mattered most. Donald grew up in a home where love was scarce, replaced by strict discipline, harsh criticism, and relentless pressure to succeed at any cost.
And achievement is something that really gives you great pleasure.
Trumps lived in Jamaica Estates, an upscale neighborhood in Queens. And while life in a fancy house might sound nice, inside those walls, it was all about discipline, success, and most importantly, making sure Fred Trump was impressed. Fred wasn't the doting type. When Donald did get his father's attention, it often came in the form of scolding, ridicule, or punishment.
He loved to work. He'd work on Saturdays. He'd work on Sundays. He just liked it.
He just didn't want to be bothered with you.
He'd go to church, but after church, he'd go and work.
He grew up in an environment where emotions were a sign of weakness, and success was the only thing that mattered. And losing? That was never an option.
Winning is easy. Losing is never easy.
To make things worse, Donald had a front row seat to his father's mistreatment of his older brother, Freddie. Fred Trump had a clear idea of what a real man should be. Ruthless, ambitious, and completely dedicated to the family
manipulative,
business.
and a liar.
But Freddie was different. Sensitive, easygoing, and passionate about flying. Fred Sr. saw that as a total betrayal. He would mock Freddie, calling him a bus driver in the sky, making sure his son knew just how much he had disappointed him.
I learned myself. I had a brother, Fred. Great guy.
In 1964, 18-year-old Donald and his younger brother Robert visited Freddie at his home in Marblehead, Massachusetts. By then, Freddie had distanced himself from the family business, choosing a career as a pilot, something their father saw as a disgrace. Donald wasted no time delivering Fred's cruel verdict. "Dad's really sick of you wasting your life," he told Freddie. Freddie's story didn't have a happy ending. The pressure and humiliation pushed him toward alcoholism, and by the age of 42, he was gone.
And he had a very, very, very tough life because of alcohol, believe me.
His death left a mark on Donald, who later claimed it was the reason he never touched alcohol.
And to this day, I've never had a drink. And I have no longing for it.
But it also reinforced the lesson he had learned from his father. Weakness is unacceptable and failure is unforgivable. He was a pretty rough fellow when he was small, Fred once said about Donald. It was clear that Donald was not only the favorite child, but Fred saw him as his protege. That status came with a price. Fred was even harder on his youngest boy.
He's the fellow who threw an eraser and gave a teacher a black eye and would throw cake around a birthday party. So I can imagine him as being a little terror.
When 13-year-old Donald started acting out, Fred didn't sit him down for a talk. He sent him away. Determined to mold his son into a winner and strengthen him out, Fred sent 13-year-old Donald to the New York Military Academy, a place designed to instill obedience and resilience.
And I can tell you that one of the great choices I ever made in terms of success was the choice of going to NYMA, New York Military.
You didn't have a
At the
choice.
academy, Donald thrived, not despite the strict discipline, but because of it. The drills, the hierarchy, the competition, it all mirrored the world his father had built at home. And just like Fred, Donald learned that power came from force and control.
I loved it. It was terrific training. It was tough, but it was good.
And here's where things get even darker. According to Mary Trump, Donald's father was a high-functioning sociopath. Her book, Too Much and Never Enough, paints a chilling picture. Fred was manipulative, cold, and obsessed with power. In order to cope, Mary wrote, Donald developed powerful but primitive defenses, marked by an increasing hostility to others. He feared that if he showed vulnerability, he'd be crushed, just like his brother Freddie. Even Donald himself has admitted the impact his father had on him. Journalist Tony Schwartz, who actually wrote The Art of the Deal, recalled Trump once saying, "That's why I'm so screwed up, because I had a
That's
father
why
who
you
pushed me
so
so
what?
hard." It was a rare moment of self-awareness and vulnerability from a man who rarely acknowledges his past. Donald's relationship with his father took a turn as Fred began to show signs of dementia in the mid-1990s. People recalled how Fred, then in his late 80s, didn't recognize two of his children at a family gathering at Mar-a-Lago. When he did recognize Donald, Fred approached him with a picture of a Cadillac he wanted to buy, seeking his son's approval as if he needed it. This incident left Donald visibly shaken. It shattered his view of his father, the man he had always seen as a powerful, unwavering authority, suddenly looking weak and vulnerable.
Well, I think my greatest inspiration was my father, Fred C. Trump. He was a builder. He was a great guy. He was my friend.
Medical records later confirmed that Fred had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, which Donald reflected on in a 1997 interview with Playboy. He expressed his confusion about life's meaning, saying, "Seeing my father addled with Alzheimer's had left me wondering out loud about the senselessness of life."
If you start thinking about that, bad things happen.
At Fred's funeral in June 1999, however, Donald's response remained anything but empathetic. Instead of focusing on his father's life, he began his eulogy by talking about his own success, reflecting on the greatest year of his business career. This could be seen as a reflection of what Donald believed would have mattered most to his father: success. Fred, after all, had always emphasized the importance of winning, and Donald's business triumphs were likely the most significant way he felt connected to the legacy Fred had left behind.
We need competence. Enough with the niceness.
And what do you think? Did Fred's brutal parenting create the Trump we see in the public eye, or is there more to the story? How much of the man Trump became was truly his father's doing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Okay, y'all. Bye.